that in Mughal Azam these two were not on talking terms. So many a times when two real life people, real life actors have a spat,
Yeah.
when they come on screen,
Yeah.
does it become a casting coup? Like for example, Akshay Kumar and Sunil Shetty had a spat, and Salman Khan and John Abraham had some sort of rumors that they were not getting along well. So does that create some kind of curiosity?
No, people who don't get along seldom come together in a film. I don't think Shah Rukh and Salman will ever act together. You know, even John and Salman wouldn't come together in a film. Sometimes what happens is during the film, you know, something can go wrong. Things can sour between two people and then lead to a breakup, and then it becomes very difficult. You know, one of them non-cooperates and things like that, you know. In fact, so many films were shelved because of the later developments where one actor tries to be difficult because the person doesn't like the co-star, you know, that can happen.
So now going on to like new a lot, like for example, first let's talk about Silsila, the
Yeah.
movie starring Rekha,
Yeah.
Jaya Bhaduri and Amitabh Bachchan. Like they were real life story, real life love triangle, and then they were casted together. So that was a big casting.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
All right. See, casting Amitabh, Rekha and Jaya together was a major coup at that time, because, you know, nobody expected them to come together, because there were a lot of speculations, and magazines like Stardust, you know, went to town creating them as bitter enemies, Jaya and Rekha, as you know, and all kinds of things are happening. There's the unpleasantness between Jaya and Amitabh. The media was going to town with that kind of stories. So at that stage, to have the three of them come together was a major coup. And I think it worked to some extent, but actually it didn't really, you know, lead to a happy ending at the box office, because Rekha said once that because the eventual, you know, end where she loses out was not acceptable to the audience. Like, you know, that's what she felt. So it didn't work. So she thought that Yash Chopra should have been bolder in bringing them together toward the end of the film.
So now we talk about the new a lot. For example, couples like Shahid Kareena, they did so many movies together.
Yeah.
Starting from they did Chinatown and lots of movies, but none of them worked. And finally, Jab We Met did well, and Jab We Met did well when they had a breakup. So what do you have to say?
See,
about that?
casting a couple in love needn't ensure a hit, actually. It has nothing to do with the quality of the film or anything of that kind. It's the film which eventually leads the way. Like I told you, Silsila didn't succeed in spite of the fact it had three of the biggest stars, I mean, great actors as well. But it didn't work. So it depends on the quality of the film. But it does create a lot of curiosity when you have Ranbir and Deepika together, or Shahid and Kareena together. Now, of course, Saif and Kareena together. There will be a lot of curiosity to see them together. Eventually, it will depend on the kind of films they make, the kind of scenes they have together. That's what will work. See, until Jab We Met, Shahid and Kareena's films didn't do well at all. So, like Dharmendra and Hema, who consistently gave hits, you know, they had a terrific record where almost 15 to 16 films at a stretch were box office hits. So that makes it, you know, more viable in commercially, and that leads them to repeat them again and again. Though at that stage, Hema and Dharam never showed that they were in love with each other until after Sholay.
So same goes with Amitabh Bachchan and Jaya Bhaduri. They did lots of movies together, and all of them were like good. They were hits.
Yeah.
So like they were casted together first time in Zanjeer, and then like Abhiman and all these movies, and then they were repeatedly casted together. So was that?
Yeah, but Jaya and Amitabh, you know, their films did well because right from the beginning they were being cast together. Like they did film like Ek Nazar, and then Zanjeer, of course. Zanjeer was a last minute choice. I think Mumtaz refused to do that film because nobody was willing to act with Amitabh Bachchan at that stage, because his films had not done well, and they were not too keen to work with him because, you know, everybody looks at a hit. and they thought that all Amitabh films have been flops. So they were not very keen to work. So Jaya came forward because of her relationship with Amitabh Bachchan, maybe. She came forward to act in that film, and it worked. And then they repeated them in some films, but the films are very good, like Abhiman, and Millie. These are all Rishikesh Mukherjee's films. And Rishida was very fond of both these actors, both Amitabh and Jaya. He was very fond of them, and he kept on repeating them in his films. Their film worked because they were good films. It doesn't work only because you put two, a boy and a girl who love each other, they put them together, it doesn't work. But there is a curiosity generated, it will work. Like there is comparison between, Deepika Ranbir and Ranbir Bipasha in that film, their last film, So this kind of a thing happens. Actually, the film which works, no matter what you say, the external factors and publicity gimmicks, they don't work unless the film itself works.
So real life, we are just talking about real life couples like Ajay Devgan and Kajol.
Yeah.
Earlier they did movies like Pyar To Hona Hi Tha, that was
Yeah.
a massive hit. Then they went, they also did Ish, that was also a success.
Yeah.
But once they got married, none of their movies did well. On the other hand, whenever Kajol used to work with Shah Rukh Khan or Amir Khan, for example, the movies were a hit. So why?
No, Shah Rukh and, Ajay and Kajol didn't do too many films after marriage. After marriage, she took a long sabbatical, She came back much later. I think she came back in Karan Johar's K3G, Until then, she didn't do any film. But they did one film which Ajay directed, which did reasonably well, Shah Rukh and Kajol, of course, they were one of the most sought after pairs because right from the beginning, all the films have been big hits, and actually they were voted as the most popular couple of the last millennium, the best romantic team of the last millennium. So that happened because somewhere there was a tremendous chemistry between the two of them. They started together in Bazigar, I think, and since that time, almost every film of theirs was a hit. They never had a film which didn't do well. Somewhere they vibe very well and they bring out the best in each other, and that has a lot to do with a team working. And they had a good team, and they worked with Karan Johar, and Karan understood both of them very well. He was very fond of both of them, and he worked towards getting the best out of them.